there beauties, your girl Euniycemari here, and so today is going to be an update video. I'm going to update you guys on my going natural with deodorants journey, or my experience with being natural underneath the arms, or dealing with natural deodorants. I don't know what I'm trying to say. If you guys watched my video that I put up some months ago, was it like 3 months ago or so? 3, 4, 6. Some months ago I put up a video talking all about me going natural with deodorants and my experience and what I used. And so I wanted to come on here and update you guys, because there's been a few things that have changed, and you know, not only with what I use but with my underarms. And so I wanted to go ahead and update you guys on that and talk to you guys about it. Okay, let's talk about the sweat game. All right. When I first was using, when I was using regular deodorant, of course it has antiperspirant in it, so you wouldn't perspire as much, okay? But when I did perspire, I would perspire and it would like drip down my arm when I was using regular deodorant, okay? When I got off of regular deodorant and I went into going into natural deodorant, a lot of the natural deodorants that I use don't contain antiperspirant, because aluminum is what stops you from sweating, right? So those don't contain that. So I would sweat and it was uncomfortable because you have to get used to the fact that you're sweating, all right? But as I've been going into this journey and I have been letting my body, I guess, just do what it does naturally, I've noticed that now when I sweat, I don't sweat as much. Even the fact that these don't have antiperspirant in it, when I do sweat, it's not like it used to be where it was dripping down my arm. So I found that to be interesting. Number 2, I don't really use my tea tree soap as often for cleansing. I know before in my last video I told you guys how I used it, and it's good to clean off the skin and bacteria, get rid of that scent or that smell, because you know bacteria causes odor. But I use my black soap now, and that does the job pretty good. And the reason why I feel is because when I first started, it's good to use like tea tree soap when you're first starting this transition, because that just gets all that extra like build up from deodorants and everything on your from your underarms. Because I think when you're using regular deodorants, that stuff can leave a film on your skin underneath your arm, and I think that can cause you to have odor and things like that. Because if you don't thoroughly cleanse your underarms, and I'm not talking about just using soap, because I don't know what makes up exactly that film on deodorants, but it leaves something streaky underneath your arms that is hard to clean off. So if you're just using soap, that is not removing all of the deodorant. Like, you need to be getting in there with like something that's a little bit more hardcore and like scrubbing those underarms, okay? So I just, now that my underarms are a little bit more on the cleaner side, all that residue from previous deodorant and all that is stripped off. I don't use tea tree in my regimen to clean my underarms as often. I use it probably about once a week, once every other week, whenever I feel like I need a little bit of a pick-me-up or a little bit extra cleansing underneath the arm. Next thing is what I want to say. Oh, like ingrown hairs and like bumps. Okay, so I know you guys, I know somebody out there experienced this before, and I don't know if they're ingrown hairs, because I so far have not experienced not one of these bumps since I stopped using regular deodorants. But have you guys ever noticed that you get these little sore bumps underneath your arms? And I used to think they were ingrown hairs at first, and then I used to think that it was something else. Because I remember getting them even before I started shaving my arms, like when I was younger, like 12 and all that. Before, and I was using regular deodorant, but before I started actually shaving my arms, I would get them. I used to be like, what the hell are those? But I think deodorant can cause those as well, because ever since I kind of went off of that, I have not gotten one of those nasty, hurtful bumps underneath my arm. Like, haven't gotten one at all. And I don't know if it's because your follicle or your pore is clogged and you get like this weird bump, but I haven't experienced any of those. I'm going to look up the name of those and I'm going to insert it here and do some research on that, because I think deodorant was the regular deodorant is what caused that. And it could be because they clog your pores. So haven't experienced that. Let's see. What else is new? Odor. Okay, let's talk about odor. As far as odor, Sometimes I can notice I get a little ripe. Well, this is before I figured out a little bit of a concoction for myself. But I was noticing, like, I would say probably like, let's say about halfway through my day or so, I'll be like, I'm getting a little ripe, okay? A little ripe. I was like, all right, something's not working. My body is not agreeing, or it needs a little bit more. All right, and let me break this down to you guys. Body chemistry is the #1 thing when it comes to deodorants and finding what works for you. And I think I said this in my previous video. Body chemistry, what works for you, because what works for me may not work for the next person, or what works for that next person may not work for the next person. So you got to play around with this whole deodorant, natural deodorant, coming up with your own remedies to figure out what works for you. So once I kind of figured that out, I went and started to look for other deodorants, and I came across this one right here on Vitacost.com, and I read some reviews. People said it was really great. This one is Lavender and Tea Tree by Earth Science, and I got my hands on it and I hated it. I believe it's petroleum based. It makes you smell even worse. I mean, it smells good when you smell it. It's kind of, you know, tea tree and lavender. You have that smell to it. But when you put it on your underarms and you're walking around, it makes you smell even more gross. Didn't like it. Threw it out the way. When I talked to you guys in the last video, I stated how I wanted to get my hands on this bad boy. So I went out there and I read reviews, and people said this keeps you smelling, it keeps the odor away. Like, I don't care about perspiring, the odor. So it's saying that this is what keeps the odor away. So I was like, all right, let me go ahead and let me give this a try. All right, love it. Got my hands on this and I have been using it ever since. This is the crystal stick. It comes with a lot of freaking product. Look at that. And what you do is that, well, how I use it, because some people wet it, but I don't. When I get out the shower and I'm wet and my underarms are still damp, I just take this and I just roll it underneath my underarm, roll it underneath my underarm. I do it probably like twice or so, and then I let my underarms dry. Then I use lavender oil. I have lavender oil. I take a few drops of lavender oil, drop them underneath my arm, let it sit, let it dry. And then once that dries, I go into my regular crystal. Okay, I go into the crystal lavender and white tea. This is my favorite. And I slather that on, let it dry, and that keeps me smelling fresh all day. Okay, and you may say that's a bit much. You may say, oh, that's quite of a process, but I mean, it works for me. Now, some people can just get away with this, or they can just get away with this, or they can just get away with probably just putting lavender oil underneath their arms. But that process worked for me, and it kept my underarms smelling fresh. Now, the other one, there's another one of these. There's a, what is it called? Oh, I forgot the name of it. I'll write it here. Chamomile and something white tea or something. That bad boy broke me out underneath my arms. I don't know if anybody else has had that similar experience, but I went out and tried the other one to try to, you know, change up the scent, and no. I immediately threw that one to the side and went out and got me this one, because that one, I don't know if it's the chamomile or whatever ingredient they put in it, but it like broke me out. Like, I'm talking about rash underneath my arms. So I had to stop using that one. But those three things, with the lavender, with the crystal stick, and the crystal roll-on, or either the spray, works amazing for me, and it keeps me smelling pretty damn good all day long. So how do I feel about being a natural underneath the arm? Of course, it's more work. Like, you gotta, you know, find things outside of the box that kind of, or not outside of the box, but you gotta do your research. Let me just say that. You gotta do your research. You have to go through trial and error. You're gonna have to realize halfway through the day you're kind of funky. You're gonna have to play around with different deodorants and run into things that you don't like. You know, it happens, but once you find your rhythm, or what works for you, then you're good to go. And yes, it may be more of a process, but then again, it's healthier for you. And my health is #1 for me. Like I said, I have a lot of health issues in my family. My mom passed away from leukemia, and there's been other people in my family who had cancer. And I just am really like, when it comes to using products on the skin and ingredients, and just trying to be as nurturing and as good to my body and take care of myself as possible. So yeah, that is my natural deodorant update. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And oh, I know I said I was going to do a DIY natural deodorant. I have not found a recipe that I have liked yet and I can stand behind yet. Once I kind of get one and a recipe down that I like, then I will definitely share it with you guys. But so far, I have had failure after failure after failure with that. So right now, I don't have any natural deodorants that I like, and the ones that I've made have just been sitting there because they don't work. Okay, so yeah. With that being said, this is your girl Euniycemari. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you in another video. Bye.